Okay, so I got to play Elden Ring for a second time because they allow us 3-hour chunks to play. And the second time, I pretty much focused on trying to progress through the game and beat as many bosses as I could. So the first boss that you come across in the game is a boss that's on horseback. He's like a big golden knight on horseback. I mean, right after you walk out of the tutorial dungeon. And he kicked my ass the first couple of times that I fought him. So I left and I came back after I'd gotten my horse. With the horse, he's significantly easier, I thought. He still took me probably 4 or 5 times to beat because he does a lot of damage and he has a big like sweeping attack that's pretty hard to get out of the range of. And then after I beat him, and I did all this pretty much right after I got my horse. After I beat him, I went and I fought the dragon because I really was determined to beat the dragon yesterday. The dragon has a ton of health. I beat him on horseback, which he can kill your horse, and you have to use... If your horse dies, and it has like a separate health bar, if your horse dies, you can resummon it, but you have to choose to use an Estus flask to resummon it. So it takes 1 Estus flask to use. So sometimes when you get hit, it'll just hit your horse. Sometimes it'll hit you. Sometimes it'll hit you and your horse, depending on where the hitbox gets hit, which I thought was pretty cool. So he killed my horse every single time that I fought him at least once, and I would have to use an Estus flask to revive it. But I don't even know if it... I'm sure somebody way better than me will beat the dragon on foot, but I don't know how, because he's got just like a giant tail sweep, and he flies up into the air and slams down on the ground and stomps just a huge area. He's got a big flame attack that just covers a wide area, and the only way that I could get out of the way of that was with the horse. And even then, sometimes the horse wasn't quite fast enough to reach the edge of it, so he would still wind up hitting me, obviously. And you gotta hit him dozens of times. It's probably like I don't know, maybe like a 7 or 8 minute battle if you're just constantly whacking away at his feet. And you can stagger him twice. I was able to stagger him twice before I kill him. And I think if you stagger him, you could probably get off the horse and backstab him, but I didn't. I just kept hacking away. Because if you stagger bosses, generally you can do like a really powerful backstab. I don't know what it's called, but it does a lot of damage. And then after I beat him, there was a dungeon that I had gone to in my previous chunk of time playing through, where I had died a few times. So I'd left and gone somewhere else. I went back through there and I beat it. And there is a hidden pathway in that if you jump off of one of the elevators going down, that leads to a boss in there. So I beat him as well. And he wasn't particularly difficult. He's a fairly straightforward boss. So after I beat that, I went back toward the main quest area, toward the castle, the legacy dungeon that you're supposed to get to. I knew there was a big like rock titan thing that comes out of the ground that I'd seen in my previous playthrough. So I went through and I killed him, and he was easy. I mean, really easy. I think he took like 8 hits, and he barely even attacked. It was just a cakewalk on horseback. And then I found like this blue rune circle thing on the ground with these weird like little orb worms. I don't know. They're like little worms that are made out of circular rocks with like a glowy eye in their face. And they do spin attacks, and I think they spit fire or something. I don't remember exactly. But they're circling this weird orb thing, so I killed a few of them, and then I went to the middle of the rune, and it lets you select to go to like another realm. So the whole like color scheme changes, and you vanish into this other realm, and everything goes away, and there's a circle around it that you can't escape from, and there's a little blue rift on the one side. So you walk toward that, and then this cool, like, a little ninja monster pops out of the ground with a sword and starts fighting you, and he's very aggressive and he's very fast, and he killed me more times than I would like to admit, like maybe 7 or 8 times before I finally figured him out. I just got more aggressive and just started hitting away at him because he didn't have a ton of health. And you can also parry his attacks, which I'm not very good at yet. I haven't really gotten the timing on that down, but I was able to beat him, and then I went back toward the Legacy Dungeon where you fight Margit the Fell, who is the boss that everybody I've seen has talked about how he's just like I think Mr. Matty Plays called him a fuck you boss, like, because he just does so much damage and he's so aggressive, and his attacks are almost all just wide sweeping attacks, and he can jump around the map, and he's got a fair amount of health. And he took me 5 or 6 tries to beat. You can summon wolves, which I did, that distract him for probably the first half, 2/3 of his health if you're aggressive. I didn't think he was that hard. I haven't really thought that any of the bosses in this game have been particularly difficult. And I'm not like a great Souls player. I'm not a great video game player in general. I'm decent, I'm not bad. But I feel like I breezed through this game fairly easily. So you beat him, and then you get to go through the path to the Legacy Dungeon, where there's an NPC that you can talk to who's like, hey, buddy, hey, don't go through the main gate. There's too many enemies there. You should take this back path over here. It's safer. And then you can choose to listen to him or not through dialogue options. And then I would assume you can choose to listen to him or not through gameplay. So I listened to him. I went through the back area, and there weren't a whole lot of enemies. There were like these eagle guys that I was able to take out in 2 hits. But they're flying, so they're kind of hard to hit. But before I went to the Legacy Dungeon, I forgot to mention this, I went off to a path to the left of it where there were just like a ton of jellyfish. I mean, there were probably 30 of these floaty jellyfish that were blue initially and then would turn red when you got too close, I guess when you aggroed them. And then there were some skeletons that regenerate. Like if you knock them down, they glow, and you have to hit them again to finish them off, or they just get back up with full health. And there were a lot of enemies, so I was just riding around on horseback, just hacking and slashing away at them, and I got a jellyfish summon from it, which was pretty cool. So anyway, back to the Legacy Dungeon. I went left, made it through a good area. This area, everybody said this pretty much, it feels like a Souls dungeon. Like it feels like old Souls games where it's not open world. It's much more guided. You're going down hallways and corridors and up staircases. And there are, hidden paths that you can take and hidden treasures and stuff that you can find throughout. And then I got to probably just a mini boss in a big dark room, and I got him within 1 hit of killing him, and he killed me because I wasn't really paying attention, and I was trying to rush through it because the network test was ending in 2 minutes. So that was the end of it. He killed me, and then I had to get off. But as you can see, it's open behind me again because it is network test time, and I took 10 minutes out of my network test play to make this video because I slept really late today. But I'm about to dive back in, so hopefully I'll get my thoughts on that in a few hours. I hope that I am doing a better job with this video than I did with my last one. I know it's just kind of a stream of consciousness thing, and I wish that I could put gameplay in front of it, but it won't let me capture anything off my Xbox. And I don't want to steal anybody else's footage, so I apologize for that. But thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you want. I mostly do reviews, but Elden Ring is a game that really, really interests me and that I want to talk about as much as I can. So also, if you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm at Ross Varner. I love talking about video games or movies or whatever's going on in the entertainment space. So hit me up. And if you have any questions about any of my gameplay segments, or if you have any questions about the game or how spells work or summons work or anything like that, leave a comment down below. Thanks for watching and have a good day.